Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AFRICANEXT 2022, formerly known as Social Media Week Lagos. My name is Sonny Jacob, and today promises a bit exciting time to learn, interact, socialize, network. And of course, what's more interesting is that The Guardian has two sessions we're really looking forward to. So guys, sit back, relax, and let's hop in.
At the time Big Brother was running, you talked about it. Big Brother, the show was running, airing on TV. But if you go from Facebook to Instagram to all kinds of platforms, individuals who are running commentaries, talking about the show, getting engagement, and then I think it's another smart way of keying into a winning formula, what it is for now. But in terms of innovation, how do we need to innovate?
I think what's critical is you need content innovation, you need business innovation. The content innovation starts first because can your idea cut through? Can your content cut through? What's unique about what Tayo does was, very few other people were doing it here and very few other people mastered it. And there's rules to this thing. There's, storytelling has its rules.
Funding is a big issue. And why I would say funding is a big issue is when I started making content, I had to get funding from something else, which was me learning how to make videos and making videos for people. So I was shooting weddings, I was shooting events like this. I was just taking my camera anywhere to shoot and make money from that. That was how I was able to fund my trips. If I was to tell you that as much as I've shot, I think I've shot probably over 100 videos on tourism in Africa, I've never been sponsored for one of them. So all the travels, the trips, everything, it's from my own pocket. And if I didn't find a new model to start making money, because back then I didn't make any money for the first 2 years, even from the AdSense. And if you're traveling around telling these stories, making content, it's very expensive. Especially traveling across Africa is more expensive than traveling across Europe or anywhere else. So funding is a big problem, and I think it's just gradually now that it's not much of a big problem for me. But look at how big I had to become for it not to become a problem. Imagine people who have 20,000 subscribers or they're just starting out. It's a big problem.
Whenever I try to work with any brand, sometimes I'm just please let me use this product for a while and let me even see how I can incorporate it into my own lifestyle or something. And the organic route almost always it just works all the time.
But we need to start looking out for how well this person knows what she's doing, he or she's doing, how well they can create that content, and how well they can own your brand. It's really important. In fact, sometimes I feel as a competing brand, I might not be able to work with Tomike because if she has done Maltina, I don't think I want her to advertise my other products, even if she's not an ambassador, because of how much she owns it.
There is a huge number of people that still listen to the radio in Nigeria. If you have a mass market product and you're not using radio, then you're not really, so I think it's really just about your strategy as a brand and identifying the right tactics to use to reach your audience.
In the coming years, I feel our creators will have the confidence to be themselves so that brands who want to tell stories using their styles and their reach now will be able to connect with them and, put something out there. That's what I think.
I thought the session was really interesting. It basically was a conversation about the future of content creation on the continent and storytelling over the next decade. And we talked a lot about the funding. We talked a lot about creating content and stories that cut through and finding new audiences, finding new ways of paying for content creation over the next decade. Over the next 10 years, I think our stories will be told by an increasing diversity of people. So more people telling stories than currently do. We will have people better able to cut through the gatekeepers because there's distribution that allows them to tell their own stories to both African and global audiences. And I hope that we will also have more media companies with range and global reach and global impact. For that to happen, we'll need some business model innovation. We'll need people to be incredibly thoughtful about how they grow their content and their audiences and their reach. But I think that will be a critical part of our storytelling over the next few years.
Because of the level of work we have done in Nigeria, the level of work by our content creators, it's easy for anybody anywhere to identify with Nigeria as a country because of the level of work that's coming from us. Is it our music? We won Grammy, so people now know there's a Nigerian artist who won Grammys. Is it our films? Nigerian films have been to a lot of our film festivals globally, won different awards. Is it our comedians? They are doing great. Is it the guys who make small skits? People understand. Because somehow all these things promote the brand Nigeria. And then in making the money that we are making, we also need to be particular about telling our stories in a world that is a global village, and people are trying to find their own voice within that global village. And I think from what I'm seeing now, if you're talking about creative content, I think Nigeria is doing well. But how we sustain it and how we professionalize what we do is left to be seen.
Yeah, I think the session was really nice. Like, having all the other people too, who were also speakers, who were also like kings in their industries, and then talking about content creation. I believe that was awesome. And then also even interacting with the audience. So a lot of people also had questions. So that's really cool. And I think sessions like this or programs like this are necessary because a lot of people need to know about what is happening in content. Because I believe that content creation is really powerful, and all of this needs to be talked about and needs to be shown. So 10 years, first of all, is very long. I don't know what new technology is going to be out in 10 years because like TikTok didn't even exist 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, 5 years ago. So I feel like what we're doing now is like the foundation. We are laying the foundation. And as a content creator and for all other content creators out there, we're laying the foundation for those stories that need to be told. And the more people like me and other content creators tell those stories, the more we are sort of encouraging the newcomers, the younger generation, to also tell their own stories, their stories from the African perspective with whatever new medium is available by them.
Okay, so what we talked about was challenges that content creators face, right? And then one of the major issues were funding. And then in as much as I've not been in this space where funding has been the problem, Yinka was able to talk about it and then made us realize how much funding is a problem. And then I feel like if funding is a problem right now, then I think we have big issues in our hands because where are we getting to? I would imagine that to keep creating content, I know content is expensive, but I would imagine that you keep creating it and then eventually start to get sponsorships, you start to get noticed. It's not that easy, but as TV stations, it gets more expensive. So the question people asked in the audience was, how can we eventually let funding not be the problem anymore? Also, one of the issues we talked about was how brand experts are beginning to look for people with the numbers instead of creative people, so to speak. And the truth is, I've been in spaces really where I say, let's use somebody, and then they're telling me, oh no, she doesn't have the numbers. And I'm like, no, look beyond that. This person owns your brand. This person lives your brand. Is that not what we should look at? And then, if you're talking about numbers, yeah, she doesn't have 10 million, but come on, even the 5 million that she has, they are loyal to her. Is that not what we're looking for? But they eventually don't go and use this person. They still want the person with 10 million followers, right? So I think that in as much as she, who owns 5 million followers, will not be used by me, there are also a host of brands using her. So as creatives, you don't stop being creative. You don't lose it. You don't lose that creativity in you because you don't think you're being noticed. Eventually, someone who has need for you, especially, would come and get you.
Well, I think I was able to bring some insights into some things that people probably have been guessing about or how things work. And also, I think I was able to get across to the much younger people in the audience who normally people in my position or whatever would be much older people running a channel and so on. But I feel I was able to connect to them and they see that this is kind of someone like us and telling them the truth about what it is. I mean, the fact is there's no time. These conversations, we're supposed to have them over months, sit down and deliberate. But I mean, so in terms of contribution, I think people would have gone home thinking and understanding better how media works and what the requirements are.
And that's about all we could bring to you on the highlights of this year's Africa Next 2022. I'm sure you were informed as well as educated. Until next time, bye for now.